the Herdcast, your unofficial Halifax Mooseheads podcast with your hosts Lance and John on the boards.
Welcome to the 15th edition of the Halifax Herdcast Sandstorm Edition.
The apple-picking edition, buddy.
Apple-picking edition. This week we have a special guest. Just got off the phone with him, David Brine, your former Halifax Mooseheads. We'll stop that. That's really annoying. And this week, of course, thanks for listening to us, rating us, downloading us, swearing at us, whatever you do.
Yeah, thanks for not calling the listener line.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for not calling the listener line. And this week, Halifax Mooseheads.
Just hold your horses here now.
What are you eating?
There's a couple things that I wanna just say at the beginning of this show.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
First of all, the apple picking edition.
Right.
So just so people can understand, you might have seen a couple tweets flowing back and forth. So Sandstorm. Whenever I hear the song Sandstorm, I picture a rave.
Right.
And you know, it's a common thing that people at raves take a lot of ecstasy or whatever. So their dancing is a little weird. So if you ever walk into a rave and you're not on drugs,
you're just trying to fit in.
I just see, people dancing to Sandstorm. I can just picture them dancing, but their dancing is like they're picking apples. I can't. The podcast is audio, but I can't show you. But just imagine somebody, putting their two hands up, reaching for an apple, putting them in the basket. Hands up in the basket. Hands up. So that's where the apple picking comes from.
I cried the first time you told me that. Oh my god! I laughed.
Yeah, I can't believe you never heard that before.
I'd never heard it.
Apple picking.
I think we were at a game and the song came on. I was like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Apple picking, buddy. Sandstorm. So if the guy who does the Mooseheads, the DJ at the Mooseheads game, is listening to this, always play more Sandstorm.
Well, obviously he played Sandstorm between the third period and overtime in game 2.
I know.
Yeah. The whole period, the whole intermission. That was a lot of apple picking, really.
I picked 8 barrels of apples in the time that it took to clean the ice. So Section 7 apple picking, Sandstorm.
And it's too bad we're on a podcast, like audio, but we can't simulate a fog machine on a podcast.
Yeah, and the fog machine too. There was people wondering why I may have had a fog machine in the trunk of my car. The reason that I had a fog machine in the trunk of my car is, A, I was too lazy to take it up and bring it in the house. But basically what happened is I've got 2 cars. I've got my truck, and I had a beater car that I used to go back and forth to work. Well, in the trunk of my beater car, there was everything. So anytime anybody gave me something or I needed something that was mine, and rather than have it in the back seat, I just threw it in the trunk. So I just sold that car. When I was relocating things, I found a fog machine from a Halloween party, like, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. So, yeah, my wife was pregnant with our 2-year-old, and so probably 3 years ago. So I had a fog machine, and it's still there, so I'll take a picture and tweet that out of the fog machine in the trunk of my new car.
Give a shout-out to our Friday night company.
Yeah, we had Kevin Forbes from Hockey's Future. We hung out and had a little chat with him. And Sanaya Sapurji, so she was with us too. She's the editor for Yahoo Sports for the junior hockey side of things at CHL. So yeah, we had a really nice time with those guys, telling some stories, having a couple laughs, and hopefully we'll get the both of them on the show at some point.
Yes, we'll have to. Yes.
So yeah, that's so just for the sequence of weird tweets you might have seen over the last week or so, that's where some of them come from. But the apple picking, you got to remember the apple picking.
Just imagine everybody in the Mooseheads at the Mooseheads game knew about that, and that song came on. Imagine the whole crowd just apple picking instead of doing the wave.
That's something we could start.
Awesome.
Instead, how like they did the Harlem Shake?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We could start a new viral
apple
thing
picking
called
anywhere.
Apple picking.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It'd be like a viral thing where just somebody walks. Can you imagine just walking like downtown Spring Garden with like a boombox or something on, and then just put the boombox down in front of Lululemon?
Yeah.
And like press play. And then just start picking apples. Right?
Or like
And
just
do
walk
it
into
for like
Peggy's
1
Cove or
minute
something.
and then just turn it off and walk away.
That'd be awesome.
Or like go to Walmart somewhere and do it.
Right where the greeter is, and just start picking apples.
Right where the greeter, right in front. You know where the area where they got all the sale stuff there, right at the front, next to the carts or whatever.
You could be honest.
Put it down right there. Darude, buddy, Darude. Sandstorm. Look it up.
The Rude? Is that what you said?
Darude. I think that's the name of the people that put that together. I think. Darude.
Darude. You're right.
Yeah, of course I am.
They didn't even say anything, do they?
And there was a while there in the NHL where a couple teams played that song constantly.
They still play it constantly. What do you mean? Like every game I've been to, I think.
I think it might have been Nashville used to have that as their like goal song.
Oh, you're kidding, really?
Yeah.
In Nashville? Not like a country song or something?
No, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. But there was a team that had that in their goal horn. Like, their goal horn would go in, like, you know?
Yeah, I'm not even going to look it up because I won't find it. Anyway, good weekend. Good hockey games. Good company.
Yeah, and, the boys where we're at now, last night, they went up 3-0 in their series.
Mm-hmm.
2 great games at the Metro Center. But I think that Sunday night game where Marty Ferk scores in overtime is probably my greatest moment at the Metro Center in my life. I never experienced anything like that before. And my whole family was there. My wife, my 2 kids, were all sitting down together. And I'll never forget the look on my son's face when Marty Ferk scores. Because at the beginning of the overtime, he said to me, Dad, if we score, I want you to lift me up, like on your shoulders, like lift me up so I can reach the top of the glass, right?
Oh, nice.
And I was like, all right, sure, whatever. And then Marty Ferk scored, and I just jumped out of my seat. And I remember he looked up at me. He's like, Dad, lift me up, lift me up, lift me up, right? And so I lifted him up. And he started shaking the boards and patting on the glass. It was awesome.
Well, the Mooseheads posted a video. It was just like a still camera must have been. And here we'll play it. Crowd going nuts. Pass it, pass it. The thing shakes. It was awesome. Oh, there he goes right there. I can see you. Nice. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, did you see me down there?
Yeah, I can see you, yeah, down there.
Anyways, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
And then last night, again, another barn burner up in Rouyn.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, Jonathan Drouin. Or as John Moore likes to say, Jonathan Drouin! Jonathan Drouin!
Not quite as emotional that time, but...
No, I know, but that's how I'll always hear John Moore saying it.
I didn't get I was watching it on Eastlink, and I didn't get the John Moore. I got the Eastlink guy doing the call, and you said you had John Moore on the Telus?
Yeah, if you watch it on Telus, you get the local radio station, right?
I kind of wish I had that. There's nothing wrong with the Eastlink guys, but you're just used to hearing John Moore on the radio, that's all.
Yeah, I enjoy the John Moore, and he gets the guests on at intermission. So like Justin Munnan was on there last night. He's a former Moosehead.
Gold miner now, right?
Yeah, a gold miner, right?
The Eastlink one just had guys selling lawnmowers.
Selling lawnmowers. Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be a Eastlink lawnmower Twitter feed today, but so far no good.
Just some guy posting it like 30 times a day. Lawnmower for sale? Or...
What the hell, right? That is so awesome, though.
Swap Shop.
Is that what it's called, Swap Shop?
I think it's Swap Shop, yeah. I don't know why anybody would go on Swap Shop when they have Kijiji, but well, who knows? Whatever.
I'm probably just somebody fooling around.
Oh, yeah, definitely somebody fooling around, but that's what makes it funny. That's the best part.
But, so the Moose up 3-0 in the series, stranglehold against Rouyn. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, the game's probably on or it's over and we've moved on to the finals. All I can say is I think it's pretty safe to say that the Moose will take this series. I don't know if they'll sweep or not, but I'm pretty sure that we've got our ticket almost punched to the finals.
A little bit.
Although I will say one thing, Alexandre Belanger, he has been playing lights out in net for the Huskies. And a couple weeks ago, I didn't even know who he was. I thought he was just some rookie goaltender who I've never heard of. And I thought, okay, well, the Moose will just blow by this guy. But no, he's really been playing well. So a bright spot for the Mooseheads. And one more thing, too.
Well, just more about him. He moved up. He was ranked 25th mid-year, and now he's ranked 11th. So we went 14 spots in the draft ranking.
There's one more thing that I want to mention, too. Like, we don't know who listens to the show, but there's a guy at the rink, and I can remember him from last year when we played Quebec, and Gabe Desjardins was on Quebec, and now, of course, he's with the Huskies. But he's always yelling, "You're a bum, Desjardins! You're a bum! Get off the ice, Desjardins!" I love that guy. I just love the way he says it. You know, it's just something about it. And I probably do, you know, I didn't mind Gabe Desjardins when we played here, but anyways, not so much anymore.
So move on to the news.
What's in the news?
In the news, PEI Rocket possibly relocating. We discussed that last week, I believe.
We did?
Yep.
With our friend Henry?
With our friend Henry, that's right. A group apparently is trying to put together an offer, 12 to 14 investors, and the league will not extend the deadline. So it doesn't mention if they're local investors or not. So I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's what it means.
I'm sure it's...
Because there's the original offer that the league had put out, right? On the league's behalf, kind of?
Yeah, I think... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works either.
If the league would buy the team and then sell it
not
to
the league,
another...
but probably the party interested in buying a team came to the league and said, "I want to buy a team." And then the league went to PEI saying, "Are you going to sell your team? Because I know somebody who's going to buy your team." But then the owner said, "Well, I don't want to sell it yet. I want to see if anybody else wants to buy it. I like your offer, but we'll give someone else a chance." So this must be the local offer. That's my guess. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess.
But apparently, too, it's like there's not a group. They're saying, okay, there is a group, and they're saying we're a group of people that are interested in buying a team, but we want to. We will take other investors, you know, the more the merrier type thing.
Oh, okay.
But I think there's a core group of this many that are looking for it. So, and I'm just giving a quick look there now.
Like looking to save the team in PEI, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or investors looking to buy the team, but they want to, you know, if somebody else comes in and says, "Yeah, I'd like to be part of this too," they'd be more than willing to take you in, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's too bad the league is not, pushing the deadline to like next Friday, because if I win, you know, the lottery this weekend, I'll just go buy the team, right?
Would that be a good investment?
I don't know.
They'd probably build a statue for you in PEI if you did that, though.
They would. Well, there's already one
right.
somewhere.
There's a sign,
right?
I thought. Maybe a memorial? No, I don't know.
The legend. So, I don't know.
Wolves.
Hopefully we can save the team in PEI. I hope and pray.
Yeah, exactly. And Jonathan Rouyn was named the CHL Player of the Week.
Who was?
Rouyn.
Jonathan Rouyn?
Yeah.
Go away. 9 points in 2 games?
You betcha.
I think that's pretty good numbers.
That's not bad. So props to him. And Conrad Alphauser passes Milan Ursina for the most playoff road goals by a Moosehead defenseman with 6.
Nice.
And Rouyn extended his point streak to 9 games, 19 points. Not bad. And McKinnon also extended his point streak to 7 games with 20 points.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad.
You know, the boys been playing well.
Mm-hmm. And McKinnon is 3 points away, and Rouyn is 4 points away from breaking the all-time Moosehead playoff points record held by Brendan Benedict with 54 points.
Yeah, so I guess I'm thinking it's probably only a matter of time. It's going to be down to these two guys who comes in on top of this year in the scoring department. But yeah, we'll see.
And I was looking at Moosehead records today. Zachary Fucali holds 10 playoff records already.
Nice.
I'm not going to list them all, but still impressive.
And he's only in his second season.
Exactly, yeah.
So
he'll probably own every one of
more
those.
Years, right?
Yeah. And Nick Greenow and his Valley Wildcats unfortunately lost their first 2 games at the TELUS Cup. They lost 6-2 to the host Sault Ste. Marie and 4-2 to the Ottawa Junior 67s. They play tonight versus Quebec.
I caught some of that Ottawa game. They were down 2-0, and in the third came back and tied it up. And then Ottawa got a couple goals there in the end and sealed it. But it's too bad. But, you know, they got a couple games left, maybe turn around.
They got 3 games left, and if they win these 3 games, they have a chance at the semis.
Nice.
So tonight's a pivotal game, definitely, for them.
And if you're interested in watching the Telescope, you can watch it on fasthockey.com.
Fasthockey.com, okay.
Yep. So just throw that out there.
Good tip. And NHL Central Scouting released their draft ranking. Nathan MacKinnon, of course, Seth Jones, number 1. Everybody knows that. Nathan MacKinnon, number 2. Duran, number 3. Matt Murphy, 114th. And Mackenzie Weegar, 164th. And Zachary Fucale is the number 1 ranked North American goalie.
Nice.
Yep.
What a thrill for Mackenzie Weegar, hey?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To be passed over in the OHL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Comes and signs plays with the Mooseheads, and now he's draft eligible.
Mm-hmm.
He's on draft radars, right?
Yeah, I think he's a great little defenseman, I think.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really enjoy watching him play.
Yep. And the Mateau saga.
Weird, right?
Riding the fan bus home with his dad?
Yeah, so basically what happened was Stefan Mateau took a stupid penalty. This is from what I gather.
Mm-hmm.
Took a bad penalty in the second period of the game, and game 2 against Bakemo in the other series. And then he sat the entire third period. And then basically, I guess he just either quit the team or the team released him or whatever. And he said, whatever, I'm done with you guys. And went back on I think he chose to go back on the bus with the fans.
Yep, that's what I heard too.
Like the team was going to fly him home or whatever, and he's like, no, I'll just go back with the fans. And his father, who is the assistant coach, which must be super awkward for him,
yep.
Went home with him too, and I know he hasn't been behind the bench since either. So
yeah, he didn't quit the team, but he's sitting out the next game. He's sitting out tonight, definitely.
And the last game.
And the last game too? Okay.
I think the father did, maybe. He hasn't been on either of the score sheets, I don't think. But anyways, I'm going to say this, okay? And I don't know what the guy's attitude is like in the room, but if you're in the semifinals of your leagues, of your league's championships, right? And one of your best players takes a stupid penalty, then fine, bench him for the period or whatever. But don't bench him for the rest of the game when you're already losing. I mean, he must have did something terrible in the room or something to warrant being benched the whole third period.
But he hasn't been part of the team that much.
I know, but he's an excellent player.
But if he's not playing well, though, and then he takes a stupid penalty, and maybe he lipped off to the coach or something, never know.
I don't know, maybe. It had to be something like that because...
Yeah. And again, his dad's there, so that's super awkward, of course.
Yeah.
So, of course you want to... Yeah, but yeah, you got to stay professional, which he did not, obviously. But what do you think of New Jersey Brass thinks of that?
Well, he's not eligible to play anywhere else until Blainville's out of the playoffs.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they're not going to call him up now after pulling a stunt like that. Why would you even want that guy on your team?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what happened.
Well, he got released.
We don't know what happened.
Released in the playoffs. Have you ever heard that happen before?
No, but
it's one of those.
I don't think that ruins his shot at the NHL or anything.
I don't think so either, but it doesn't help.
No, but it doesn't hurt, so it's a wash.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on his hockey career. I
bet you as soon as the Armada's out of the playoffs, he's in the AHL.
I bet you he doesn't go anywhere. I bet you he doesn't play hockey for the rest of the year.
Beer bet?
Beer bet, yep.
All right. I say he plays hockey. You say he doesn't.
I say he does not. He's not going to be in the playoffs, like Calder Cup playoffs or something. No, not happening.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yep. And so that's it for news. Do you have anything else for news?
Not that I can think of right now. You know I don't make lists or stuff like this.
I know. It's all up there. It's all upstairs, right?
You're the guy.
So NHLers in the queue. Queue players in the NHL. Mr. Huberdeau, 46 games played, 14 goals, 14 assists, 28 points, minus 16. Last time we checked, he had 4 games played and 1 goal against the Rangers. So he's still in first in rookie points. Mikhail Gingerenko got called up on the 16th, and he still hasn't played a game since being back. I think he's played, 5 or 6 games before.
And he's eligible for AHL now, too.
Yeah, so he's still not playing in the NHL. I never checked the AHL. Not sure where he went. Anyway, and Dmitry Jaskin. Jaskin. He's played 2 games, and he's -1 with 7:29 average ice time. So that's our 3 players.
So he's already equaled his points from the Q playoffs. Is that what you're saying?
That's basically what I'm saying, yes.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. No. Throw that jab in there.
Yikes.
All right, what do we got for who's our player bio of the week?
Player bio this week, number 48 in your programs, Luca Ciampini. You could follow him on Twitter, Luca Ciampini, at Luca Ciampini, just like he spells his name. He's born in Montreal, Quebec. Played midget for the Chateauguay Patriots, midget AAA. As a 16-year-old, he had played 41 games with 44 points. And he was, as a 15-year-old, and he was drafted to the Halifax Mooseheads first round, second overall in 2010. So as a 16-year-old, he played a little bit with the Mooseheads, and he represented Quebec in the Under-17 Canada Challenge, and he won an award for the most goals, 7 goals in that tournament. He's been with the Mooseheads for 3 years. He's undrafted, but in 2012 he was invited to the Montreal Canadiens tryout, but unfortunately it was cancelled. And his Q stats were 170 games played, 44 goals, 81 assists for 125 points, plus 32. And he's played 25 playoff games, 2 goals, 10 assists at plus 5. Luca Ciampini, one of your Mooseheads.
All right, buddy. I do have a trivia question for you this week.
Okay.
I'm just trying to haul up here now. So give me the
music.
Yeah, I want the music.
Always too loud, of course.
Okay. Luca Ciampini was drafted second overall in the 2010 Quebec Major Junior Hockey League entry draft.
Yes.
Who was drafted first overall?
I never looked that up.
Hint.
Okay.
He plays for Rouyn, Noranda now.
Andrew Ghetto.
No.
I don't know.
He wouldn't be drafted in the Q draft because he's an import. He'd be drafted in the import draft.
Oh, I don't know then. Number one was... So we basically watched him play the... I don't know.
Dylan Fournier.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And he was drafted in the NHL too, wasn't he?
Dylan Fournier, yep.
I want to say the Ducks.
The Ducks or the Flames?
I don't know. No, you look it up.
Yep.
He's a good defenseman too.
Some other notable draftees from that year. We had Dominic Poulin, Charles Hudon, drafted Montreal.
Blackhawks. Second round.
Justin Hache, Alex DeBeau, Victor Provencher, Austin Hardy was drafted in the first round by Chicoutimi.
Lewiston.
And Ryan T-Sink as well.
Really?
So, yeah, there you go. First overall, Dylan Fournier.
Yeah, Chicago Blackhawks, second round, 48th overall, 2012.
And he was drafted by Lewiston.
Mm-hmm. The Maniacs. Awesome name.
Yes.
Kind of like the Everblades.
Too bad they're not still around, eh, Lewiston? That'd be a neat little road trip.
Mm-hmm.
Down to the States, watch a bit of hockey.
What was that other? The Kentucky Thoroughblades. It's a good hockey name, too.
What's that, ECHL?
I think that was an ECHL team.
Kentucky.
Yep.
Think they sell chicken?
Kentucky Fried
right?
Chicken, maybe? Yeah, they probably do sell it right at the rink. You can get it between periods. They cut it off after the second period, though. They don't want anybody getting too rowdy.
They don't want everybody falling asleep. Getting sad.
Yes, sadness. Yeah, sadness
Get
bowl.
sadness bowl. In KFC. Nice.
Yeah.
So, interview, Mr. Brine.
Yeah, David Brine joined us on the show, all the way from Croatia. He wasn't in Croatia. That's where he plays now. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like via Croatia.
How do you pronounce the name of the team again?
Oh my God.
He said it, but we asked him.
It's exactly how it looks. Mevischuk?
Yeah, Mavischuk or something like that.
Mevischuk, I don't know.
In the Austrian League. It's not the KHL. It's KHL Mavis... Ugh, jeez. Muffin. Anyway, David Brine, enjoy. Okay, this week on the Herdcast, we have a special guest, David Brine from Truro, Nova Scotia, one of your former Halifax Mooseheads, and you can follow him on Twitter, all the way from Croatia, at Dbrine 4. So, thanks for joining us, David.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. And as always, like I was mentioning, you've played hockey for quite a while. You're now in Croatia, far, far away from us. But you were one of our Mooseheads. So what is your greatest memory as a Halifax Moosehead?
I would have to say our playoff run. We made a great run against, we got held up by Rimouski in the finals. It was a great team to play for, a great group of guys, and a lot of memories from that year, and just fell up a little bit short.
Okay, I won't go too much into that because I probably know your answer later on. But what was your path to becoming a Halifax Moosehead, like your junior or before becoming a QMJHL player?
I played my midget in Pictou County for the Weeks organization. I was drafted by the Quebec Ramparts, and I tried out twice unsuccessfully for them. And they wanted me back for a third year, but I heard that they were interested in drafting me. I had just completed a year at the Junior A Bearcats, had a pretty successful 17-year-old year, and then I think a few days before camp, they ended up pulling the trigger and made a trade and came to camp, and I ended up making the team and spending 3 years with the Mooseheads.
Excellent, good choice. Who's the greatest influence on your hockey career?
I'd have to say, without a doubt, that'd be my father. He coached me growing up, and very supportive all the way up. Watches all my games. A little bit tougher now that I'm in Croatia, but he still picks up, I'd say, the majority of them. And always in my corner, never doubted me, and always gives me great advice. And really, never sugarcoats it. Likes to, if it's not easy advice, he still is there to tell me. He always has my best interest in mind, and he's definitely helped me out quite a bit.
Excellent.
All right, Dave. So you've played quite a few years now. You've played in a lot of different leagues. So who's the hardest player to play against so far in your career?
I mean, there's been quite a few players I've played against, and they've been great. I'd have to say Crosby obviously stands out. I haven't played against him in a long time, but in junior, obviously, he's a phenomenal player and a talent. I remember a couple of games I played against the Canadians, playing against Kovalev. I was fortunate, I think, to get on the ice against him and his puck protection. And I have to say my first NHL game was against Tampa, and I ended up playing against Richards, LeCavier, and St. Louis, and had about 4 or 5 shifts against them, and they were just so on the same page. They were a very tough trio to play against.
That's some pretty good names there. That's high caliber hockey players for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch them play, but it's also pretty exciting to be on the same ice with them.
Yeah, I can imagine. So then, on the other side of the coin, then, who was the greatest player you've ever played with, like on the same team as?
Played with? Wow, that's I'm not sure. That's a tough one to say. It depends. I've had a lot of great chemistry with players, and I find that helps out a lot. The Moosehead days, definitely playing with Carnegie and Hillier, lots of chemistry. As far as professional, it's really hard to say. There's been 7 years worth of guys. It's tough to pinpoint one.
That's fair. Okay, so think back to your days in the Q. Who had the toughest rink to play in? So who, like with the atmosphere, the fans, what was a place you dreaded going into to play?
I don't think there's any real rink you dread going into, but definitely one that was tough to play in would be Gatineau. I'm sure you guys can attest to this with the recent series. That barn gets rocking, and they've got great fans, and it's definitely an intimidating atmosphere. And we had a playoff series against them one year, and we always played them once or twice a year. And it's a fun place to play in. They've got a great rink, very historic, but it's definitely challenging.
Okay, fair enough. And then who had the worst facility to play in as far as what the rink was like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, every rink has its quirks and its character and stuff, and some of the rinks that people don't like I actually enjoy, but one rink that stood out to me that wasn't really a great rink to play in would be Shawinigan, and I know they changed its facilities, but I can remember walking up the stairs to the ice, and the yellow lighting wasn't really good lighting, and the big mascot flying down center ice. It would probably be the rink I'd have to say for that question.
Yeah, a lot of the guys actually we've talked to, they've all mentioned about walking up over the steps.
Yeah, it's quite an experience. I'm glad we didn't play them that often.
The rink in Noranda doesn't look that great either, even though they've renovated that too. It was built like in the 50s or something.
The Dave Keon Arena?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I like that rink. I didn't even know that they had a new one until I was watching the game last night, and I remember the square corners in there, but I always had success in that rink, so it never really
It's still the same
me.
rink. They just renamed it or something, the I Am Gold.
Yeah, I think it's still the same arena,
Yeah.
but they upgraded it, and I guess whoever this I Am Gold or whoever these people are bought it, put a bit of money into it, right?
Yeah, I remember it being short and square corners.
Yep, that's what they said on TV anyway. But
yeah.
Now, you've played a while. Do you have any pregame rituals?
Yeah. I think I try to do caught up in them. I think earlier in my career, you try and stick to a tighter schedule, but you realize that you can't control everything. But I have a pregame routine most days, and it starts usually in the morning with what I eat, and you have a pregame skate, and then usually I have the same lunch most days. Every few years, I might change it a little bit, and then try and get to the rink around the same time, and usually have a coffee and a Cliff Bar, some sort of bar that ties me over, and then just warm up and routines like that, taping your stick, just to pass time a lot of the time because you get there so early, and you just want to get ready to play, and you want the puck to drop.
Right. Now, you're from Truro, so you used to come probably to Halifax as a kid and all that. So what do you miss the most about playing in Halifax as a Halifax Moosehead?
I think it's just being close to friends and family. I have an older sister in Halifax, my parents, my grandparents, uncles and cousins, and the support from my family was great when I was there, and the fans in Halifax are very knowledgeable when it comes to hockey, and they're great to play in front of, and they love a winner, and they support the team really well. So I think it's just the whole atmosphere of being in Nova Scotia. Once you leave the province, you travel around, you realize how special we are to be in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just ask one thing there, Lance? What was it like to be like a local boy playing for the Mooseheads?
It was awesome.
Did you feel any extra pressure or anything like that? Because I often wondered how the local boys take playing for a team that they grew up watching.
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I remember as a kid going to the first Moosehead game. I had a poster in my room growing up. I remember I found it when I cleaned my room a little while ago. But I absolutely loved playing for the Mooseheads. Like I said, having family close, and I had the guys on the team were close friends, but I also had a group that was outside the rink that were great friends and met a lot of great people. And being local, I'm able to go back to games and see a lot of people that I still know and can still talk to. And it's not always the best situation for some people, but for myself, I really enjoyed it.
Now you've had quite the journey. AHL, NHL. Now you're in Austria, Austrian League, making the cut TV show. What was one thing you wish you had known before you started in the queue? Like what one you would like to tell some kid now? Some sort of advice.
You know what? As I've grown older and played, I've always paid close attention to my fitness and my training and my nutrition, and I think that's areas that are evolving every day and something you gotta stay on top of. I know it's not always just to train hard, you gotta train smart as well, and that's something I've learned. It's not about spending the time in the gym, it's about spending quality time, and the game's always changing, and nutrition and I think fitness are a huge part of it, and also the mental side of the game. It's just there's more to just being on the ice. There's a lot of off-ice stuff that factors into it as well that will just give you a little bit of an edge because there's so many guys out there competing for not so many jobs, and the talent is so rich these days that you really need to take advantage of every opportunity you can.
Yeah, the travel for me, like I think that would be the toughest part. Like when I was playing like Pee Wee, like being on the bus a little bit then, just trying to be mentally ready when you got to the rink. Like the last thing almost you wanted to do is play hockey sometimes.
Yeah, that's something we've been dealing with since we were probably 16, 17, being on the buses and riding them and having to deal with the food at that point. But you get into a certain point where you think about it or you don't think about it, depend whatever works for you. For me, I like to think a little bit about it and get a little nap in or something on a game day. And then once I get to the rink, then the focus comes a little sharper.
Yeah. Now, these questions are at the end, so Can you tell us about your experience in the Making the Cut reality TV show?
It was quite the experience. They flew to BC for a couple of weeks, and I was out there with Frankie McDonald and Ray Carnegie, the fellow 20-year-olds that year on the Mooseheads, and Frankie and I ended up making it right till the end, and I don't think the show did too well, but for me it was a great opportunity, and it led to my contract with Florida, so I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it worked out for you well. Now, what is your go-to hockey cliche?
Go-to hockey cliche?
Maybe European hockey cliche. That'd be an interesting one, too.
European hockey cliche is don't worry about the refs. You can't do anything about them. But I think a hockey cliche is, for the last few years, for the teams I've been on, it's just been 60 minutes. You can't mail it in. You got to be able to show up for all 60 or you're not going to get results.
Good one.
Yep.
Is there much media attention over there?
Yeah, actually, where we play, it's we're the only we draw really well. We're the only Croatian hockey team. We sell out most nights, and it's followed very closely over there, actually.
So when you do interviews, do you do them in English, or did you learn a new language, or did you already know how to speak Croatian?
No, I picked up a few Croatian. When I do interviews, they are in English. There's some guys on the team that are actually Croatian and speak the language, so they get the majority of the interviews.
Right. Okay, this is my favorite question. Do you have any good pranks that you pull on the boys, or maybe got pulled on you, or any funny stories from when you were on the road?
Yeah, there's all kinds, but I mean, I actually pulled a good prank this year on one of my teammates. He didn't really appreciate it. One of our players, a more popular player in our team, left the team, and his hockey card had to be flown around the dressing room, and I ended up taping it on his helmet for morning skate, and it was a time in the year where the things weren't quite going our way, and everybody got a pretty good laugh out of it. And he came pretty quick, but he knew exactly who it was because I like to push his buttons every once in a while.
Was there anything to do with butter? Did the boys still butter shoes when you were with the Moose?
It did yeah, there was still shoe checks with the butter or whatever you have, but it kind of died down a bit. I haven't seen a good shoe check in a few years now.
Nice. So we've noticed if you follow David on Twitter, he's been following the Moosehead since he's been back in Nova Scotia, been at the games and stuff. So what do you think of the boys this year? Do you think they got what it takes?
Oh, I think it's an exciting team to watch. It's very entertaining, and I mean they've got some obviously high-profile players, but they've also got the grit, and it looks like they've got a pretty good chemistry out there. And I wish them all the best, and it's exciting to watch.
What path did your career take after you left the Q?
After I left the Q, I signed with Florida, a 3-year deal, and I ended up starting off in the East Coast Hockey League in Fort Myers, Florida, and I was there up until about Christmas when a bunch of injuries hit, and ended up finishing the year in the AHL in Rochester, New York, and then back for playoffs in the East Coast. And then the following year, I ended up making the AHL team, and I got a few NHL games up that year. And then 2 more years in Rochester, 1 year in San Antonio with Phoenix's AHL affiliate, and then 2 years in Croatia now.
Okay, Lance, you want to ask some questions there about the...
Yeah, I'm fascinated with European hockey. I don't know what it is, but it's just it's amazing that the Canadian game taken to Europe, and they kind of put their own little spin on it. Like I was watching this video the other day. It was in the German league, I think the DEL, whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, DEL.
And, like the fans were cheering the whole game like it was a soccer match.
That's similar to what it is in Croatia. There's times on the ice where if I'm in the face-off circle, I can't talk to my winger unless he comes right over to me. It's our fans in Zagreb are just wild. They stand and cheer the whole game. They have their chants, they have their drums, and it's an amazing atmosphere. I know when I first got over there, I was dumbfounded by it.
Yeah, it's something. It's like on my bucket list. It's something I got to do. Just go to a game in Europe.
Absolutely.
But other than the crowd cheering like the whole game, like North America, you watch us, we're kind of boring compared to them. But what are the other differences in the European game versus the North American game? Other than the ice surface, obviously, but things like that.
Yeah, the ice surface plays a big difference just for the fact that you have more time and more space, and the angles are a little different. The biggest difference I found is when I was playing in the AHL in North America, I was one of the older guys, going over to Europe, I was again a younger, middle of the pack guy. Came over at 26, 27, and guys are, I play with guys that are 38, 33, 35. Like, I wasn't a young guy anymore, and we had old guys and kids running around all over the place. That was the biggest thing for me. It's a lot less games as well.
And there seems to be on your team, I've just checked out your team, there's quite a few Canadians, but I find in other leagues, like in like the league in England, like there only seems to be one import per team. Is it different in your league? Like you could have multiple imports?
Yes, our league works on a point system. So each night you're allowed to dress 60 points, and an import is worth 4 points, and a local would be worth between 0 and 2 points. And it depends on your background, where you played. Like a university guy that came over might come over 2 or 3 points. That's on your resume. So, and with our team, they were able to get Croatian passports for a lot of the guys, that if you stay 3 years or if you have Croatian heritage, they're able to get that, and that lowers your point total as well. Therefore, they're able to work it a little bit to get more imports.
Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. Now, as an import player, do they like treat you a little bit better? Like, do they provide you with like accommodations, or like it'd be interesting coming all the way from, like, if you're in Rochester, New York, like how do you move to Croatia to play hockey? Like, there must be some sort of help.
Yeah, well, it was definitely interesting. I knew at that point in my career I was going to go to Europe, and I had a few offers. And I saw the team that Croatia that I ended up going to, Donnie McLean, was there, and I had trained with him before. He's from Halifax, and called him up and asked him a few questions, and he sold me on it, and ended up heading over there. They treat you pretty well. I mean, everybody comes in, you get a new car. The car is plastered with team logos and your name and everything.
Oh, you're kidding!
So that's kind of interesting driving around in that. They're all standards too, so I had to learn how to drive one of those. And they put you up in an apartment, and they set you up pretty well.
That's pretty neat. Now, you said you had other offers. Like, was there other European leagues that were like trying to recruit you to play?
There was a few European leagues that were interested, and based on Donnie being there and the amount of North American players, that was, for me, the best situation.
Interesting.
One thing I always wondered about is, how does it, like, okay, like in 2011 you're playing for San Antonio. Do European teams come to see you, or do you put out some sort of feeler that says, okay, I'm interested in maybe playing in Europe, or like how does that work? Like, how do you go? How do you?
The biggest thing how Europeans scout is through online statistics, elite prospects and stuff like that. That's their biggest. I mean, they might make a trip over and look around, but for them, if they'll check out your elite prospect page, and if they like what they see, then they're interested, which I find very bizarre.
Interesting.
Really? So what could happen is, if I had a good buddy that worked at Elite Prospects, you think I might be able to get a shot over in Europe?
You might be able to get a shot, yeah. Pull some strings.
It's a good website. It's got tons of information. I like it.
Yeah, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, that's from what I've experienced. That's the biggest resource.
So teams started coming to you.
My agent took care of most of it. I was in a situation that Europe was the right fit for me next year, and he put, obviously, I guess he went to a few leagues and said I was interested and see what kind of offers were out there.
Right. Nice. Okay, cool.
One more question about that. If you're an import, can you be traded in your league?
No, you can't be traded. The way our league works, you have 3 periods where you can make transfers.
Okay.
And basically making a transfer means you're getting cut. So those are, you have 3 transfer moves is what it is, I guess. So there's 3 guys that can either be taken off or put on. It depends where your points are at as well. It's a very complicated formula that I haven't quite mastered yet.
But it's interesting because it makes hockey, it's almost like a mathematical type.
Yeah.
You just crunch the numbers to get the best
your points
team.
in, and make sure the roster's underneath, and then if you need something, usually it's try and save a move for the end of the move period. The transfer period ends in January, so you usually save a spot for your goalie in case your goalie gets injured and you need to pick up a goalie for playoffs.
Yeah, see, it's amazing how the game, it's the same game essentially, but
Yeah.
it's so different. I just find that fascinating.
Yeah.
And sometimes I kind of almost like the European style a little different, little better than the North American style in that sense, where it's more of a, you really got to crunch the numbers to make sure you got the right players, or that type of thing. So
Exactly. You have a team and you make it work with what you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Well, David, you think now if the Moose make it to the President's Cup, we'll see you at the rink?
Absolutely. I've been to the first 2 games of this series. I just got home earlier and been following the Bearcats here in Truro and enjoying all the local hockey right now.
Nice. So, folks, if you're out at the game, you see David, just give him a slap on the back, telling you heard another Herdcast, telling some of your good memories about when you guys were watching them. And would just like to say thanks, David, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, so that was pretty fun.
Yes, great.
Good to get back to having a former Moosehead on the show again. I know half the time things gets a little hectic and whatever, and with Lance being in Florida and stuff, we didn't really work too hard on getting the new guys on, but David expressed the interest, and he was more than happy to come on, and we were glad to have him.
And the first NHLer to be interviewed. That was awesome.
Right, the first guy to actually play games in the NHL, right?
Yep.
I know a couple of guys were drafted before, but
yep,
neat.
Very cool. So now, what was it? I guess talk about Game 4. Because I don't think there'll be a Game 5.
I don't know if we should talk about Game 4 because I think we've been just wasting our time.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if they're listening to this, the game's over.
Good point. Yeah.
So we could be completely right or completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the 40 to 50% we're wrong currently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are your predictions? What do you think? Give me a score prediction for Game 4, and then we'll take a look back at it.
I'm gonna happens. Well, let's play this. John Moore put this video up. The coach of the Huskies and general manager talking about monies.
Andre Tourigny?
Yep. So listen to this, and considering they've lost the first 3 games, what does the ownership hope happens? Not saying, just saying.
Expenses.
Yeah.
Obviously, teams are chartering here. And for Rouyn, a small market, can you explain how difficult it is, again, to meet the expenses of a playoff series like this?
It's really simple. You must have incredible ownership, because if you want to make money in that series, there's no chance. Even if we have 3 sellouts, we won't make money. So it's not about money. It's about winning. It's about having a good program. It's about doing whatever it takes for the kids. And our owner are unbelievable. Yesterday we hated the keg. We have everything we need for our player to make sure our player are happy, are comfortable. We charter flight, all that. So it's not about making money, because money-wise or business-wise, there's no money there, but it's about having a successful program, and hopefully that will carry on in the future.
I know that the league will compensate you to some point, but if this should go to a 6 or 7 game series, potentially how much money could be lost?
We calculate if we have 7 games for us, 3 charter flights, we maybe we'll last maybe 30 or 40 grand. Depends about how much the league could compensate and all that. So it's about 30 to 50 grand.
Wow.
So
and that video was posted by John Moore. He does great Moosehead stuff. You could check his website out, sportsandmore.com.
Right.
That's Moore as in John Moore, MOORE.com.
So
but 30 to 50 grand.
$30,000 to $50,000 but I wonder, because they have an 18-hour bus ride approximately. That's without stopping. So if you have to charter a bus from Noranda to Halifax, so say it's like a Game 7, so that's like 6 bus trips.
You could never do it.
Physically, you'd be exhausted.
You could never do it. You'd have to leave. The way the schedule is, you'd almost have to leave right after the game.
Yeah, and be in the bus the whole time till you get to the game almost. But I'm saying, like, say you had a day or two in between, they gave you an extra day. I wonder how much money that would cost with meals. I guess you wouldn't put them in a hotel because you'd be on the bus the whole time, but I don't know.
It's interesting what he said, though. It's all got to do with your ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm a coach, that's the type of owner I want, too.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
The owners that don't care about money, they care about winning.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so what? We're going to lose 30 to 50 grand, but if we can take the Halifax Mooses to 7th game,
yeah,
you know, I don't think it's going to happen now,
I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know.
And it's interesting, too. I don't know, because I couldn't quite understand what he was saying there, but the league compensates so much. Is that with league compensation, or?
Well, he said,
but anyway, and how much does the league kick in?
Between $30 and $50,000, depending on how much the league will kick in.
Whoa!
So if, say, the league kicks in a little bit, then it's probably $50,000. If they kick in, I don't know. Would they compensate the Mooseheads though? I doubt it.
Why is that?
Well, because they're a bigger market team, I wonder? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Well, I don't think that would be fair.
No, probably not.
Right? You make more money, you have more money to spend, so you don't get the same perks as everybody else.
Well, like a profit sharing.
I'm sure Bobby Smith don't want to take extra $10,000 of his money and fly. I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Uh-huh.
But if other teams are getting compensated to fly their players, why should he take $10,000 out of his own pocket when he could be properly compensated for it by the league? He shouldn't be penalized just because he's got the money to do it.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I guess. I'm just thinking small market versus big market, just like NHL, profit sharing.
Yeah, well, that's, you can't go both ways. It's not fair.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But anyways, interesting thought anyways.
Yeah, interesting video there. Definitely interview.
He said John Morris had some really good things up so far this year.
Mm-hmm. The Nathan McKinnon-Durand in the car interview. Classic.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. That was good. I think there's a pretty good going up to the pretty good game going on tonight in the other series.
The Blainville one?
Yeah, I think right now as we talk, it's all tied up at 2.
Mm.
After the second. 3-2 Armada.
Ooh.
It just scored. Xavier Roulette.
I wonder if Blainville will be more inspired to win without Stéphane Matteau.
Well, they're definitely playing better without him.
Oof. Not good.
So, anyways, folks, it's that time in the show. Just like to say thanks again for listening. All the follow stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at Halifax Herdcast. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Herdcast. And also you can follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Herdcast. I know Lance has a new video up of one of the goals that Marty Ferk scored in Game 1, the opening goal.
Yeah, I was down there in Section 2 for the first game.
And I've got I've got a video there of the Moose coming out on the ice from Game 2 as well.
Some good hurt at the rinks from that Section 2.
Oh, absolutely. Come to think of it.
What was it? Get one for Grandma. That was one. And sit down or I will rip your moose head off. That's the censored version. And then the moose got up and went to get in the guy's face, and the guy pushed the mascot. Like he wanted to get in a fight with him almost. But there was only like 2.5 minutes left in the game, so he just sat back down, and I think he must have talked to somebody, and then some, looks like supervisors came over and talked to him, and they looked at him, that type of thing. So it left on a peaceful note, but it was a little tense there for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
Heard at the rink.
And also, too, we were looking at maybe putting our podcast up on YouTube, too, to go for you guys to stream.
Yep.
In the future, so look for that coming up. Lance,
Listener line?
Mercat?
902-332-3178. And local call in Metro 332-3178 with your phone or recorder. And you can follow us on iTunes as well. What's that?
or a quarter.
When was the last time you used a payphone when you think about it?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I tell you. A long time
Me
ago.
too. It's been a while. I can't even think of where I could go to a payphone right now. Well, there's one out by Tim's on Bears Road. I don't know if it's still there. But
Yeah, I don't know, man.
yeah, there you go.
There's one up by the Mary Brown's in Fairview.
Well, that's for drug deals, so you can page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have witnessed that firsthand. A guy go in to the payphone booth, come out. A guy go in.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
After that guy came out, take something. The guy that first went in, go back in and take an envelope and walk out.
So he never even used the phone.
I'm fairly certain that was a drug deal.
Nice.
But the chicken from Mary Brown's was good. So
Big Mary, those are good.
doesn't matter.
What doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they were doing because
Oh.
the chicken was good.
I got you.
We should go to Mary Brown's for lunch tomorrow.
Deal.
Done.
Done.
All right, folks. So once again, thanks for listening.
Yep.
If you see us at the Metro Center, come on up, have a chat. I'm usually down, like I said, bottom section 7. Certain listeners out there, sometimes I curl my hair. So watch out for me when I curl my hair. Creeping on my darling wife, Gwen, if you're listening. So come and say hi. Me and Lance are usually hanging out at intermissions. I know, Lance, you'll probably be at the Metro Center to close out the year now.
Definitely.
Is that fair?
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, come find us, have a chat, and why don't we leave them this week with a little bit of apple picking, buddy?
A little bit. Sure, sounds good. Got it
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Sandstorm.
Similar to Antler Blast, but right at the good part too.
All right, guys, pick your apples. Remember, Sandstorm, Metro Center, apple picking. I want to see it.
Get ready.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. This is the stupidest video.
They're messing with us. They're messing with us. All right, guys, see you next week.
Later. Holy smokes. That ruined